welcome back to the Miscellaneous channel. Today I wanted to talk about a phenomenon. This is quite different than my other Unlocking Memories video about Lisa Frank. This is a little more dark. Not like super dark, but like a different kind of memory unlocking. That isn't as like fuzzy nostalgia, but it's more like what the heck was going on. Might be unlocking memories for some of you, it might not. There was a time back in 2007, 2008, where the world and pop culture was obsessed with teen pregnancy. I noticed this back then. It felt kind of like I was in an episode of a TV show, and like the title of the episode that week or that year was teen pregnancy. The world was obsessed. It's kind of disgusting thinking about it now. There was just so much that went on back then that sort of kept teen pregnancy on top of people's minds. I kind of wanted to just talk about it, and I did some research on like the timeline of things, and I have some theories as to why this happened. Let's talk about where this teen pregnancy, I don't even know what to call this. It's like the collective subconscious of pop culture. The teen pregnancy phenomenon seems to have started with Juno. Juno is that Oscar nominated, Oscar winning. It put Ellen Page on the map. It put Michael Cera on the map, kind of. And it is about a young girl who is 16 and gets pregnant. It's a drama. It was so critically acclaimed and mainstream. So like everyone watched it and it won Oscars. I think it came out in late 2007. Let me refer to my notes here. So Juno only came out in December of 2007. That's pretty late into the year. I think 2008 and 2009 were sort of the big obsession years with teen pregnancy. Because 2007, if Juno comes out, I mean, it doesn't even have the hype yet. So it was the highest grossing Oscar Best Picture nomination. So I don't think it didn't win Best Picture, but it won Best Original Screenplay. And it was the highest grossing of the Oscar Best Picture nom. So that's what I'm saying. It was mainstream. It was both mainstream and it was critically acclaimed. So that's usually like sort of a magic combination to make something sort of like a cultural icon. I don't know, in my opinion. It has a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. I remember watching it at my friend's home theater, and it was quite nice. I was pretty shook by it, because like the thing was, like Juno, the character, she was like normal, or she was relatable. She wasn't the popular girl that was hoeing around with the football team kind of pregnant. She was like a nerdy girl, and Michael Cera was a nerdy guy, and it just felt more like close to home for girls like me that were like more, reserved and not like partying and stuff early. It had what's his face, Ben Affleck and Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner, so it was like big stars. It had J.K. Simmons. It was a huge moment. And I think that moment had huge consequences in that it sort of caused this weird chain reaction of like teen pregnancy news and obsession by society. It reminds me a lot, honestly, of the Twilight vampire craze, which is a whole separate video that I will get to. Teen pregnancy, I think, was like one of the first instances that I remember it being like this phenomenon that's just like kind of random. The thing about teen pregnancy in those times, the late 2000s, was that things were happening in fiction with Juno, and then they were happening in real life, and people sort of, I think, thought like these people were like real life Junos or something. I had totally forgotten about this, to be honest, until my research, and then I totally remembered about it. But September 2008, that was an election year. It was the year Obama got elected. Bristol Palin, Sarah Palin's daughter, Sarah Palin was running for vice president under John McCain in 2008 against Obama. I don't know who's watching this. I'm sure most of you remember. If you're too young, Sarah Palin was played by Tina Fey on SNL a lot. Her daughter, Bristol Palin, ended up pregnant at 17. It was huge news, and it was like a big deal because it was the Republican Party, which is famously, conservative, not necessarily tolerant of premarital sex, I think. I don't really know, but a headline that I thought was funny from that time was Juno in Juneau, like Juneau, Alaska, because Sarah Palin was like a politician from Alaska. It violated conservative values, so that's why it was such a huge scandal that Bristol Palin was pregnant. The people you would least expect to be getting pregnant. And I think that was like a moment, a fictional thing colliding with a real life political thing. Teen pregnancy infiltrated politics. Bristol Palin came out as pregnant in September 2008. She was not the first high-profile teen pregnancy. Teen pregnancy first went to film with Juno, and then second went to TV with Jamie Lynn Spears. This teen pregnancy affected me. It affected me because I was a huge fan of Zoe 101, which was the show that Jamie Lynn Spears starred in on Nickelodeon. Imagine my anger when Jamie Lynn Spears gets pregnant and Zoe 101 has to prematurely end. I was so pissed. I loved that show so much. They had to cut it short because she was hella pregnant. They even filmed a lot of they filmed a lot of those last episodes. She has like this baby doll dress that like she's clearly pregnant underneath. I remember the iconic Us Weekly cover of, I think it was Us Weekly, of Jamie Lynn Spears looking at the camera all serious. Yes, I'm pregnant. It says in the text or something, okay, I'm pregnant. Or just I'm pregnant. I don't know what it says, but that image will forever live in my mind. Oh, okay, it was OK Magazine. And I remember seeing it on newsstands at HEB with my mom, and I was like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. She was so squeaky clean, too. Zoe 101, the character of Zoe was so, like, prim and proper that it was a shock. So we had teen pregnancy in film, we had it in TV, then we had it in politics with Bristol Palin. 2007 and 2008 were the years that Juno was huge and that these two high-profile teen pregnancies happened. In mid-2008, the teen pregnancy infiltrated fictional television. So Jamie Lynn Spears was like real life, but affected TV in some way. Then we started seeing it pop up in fictional TV. The most iconic being Secret Life of the American Teenager. This show, I just remember this one quote that's like,
he didn't die because you and I had sex.
Yes, he did.
like I can't with that clip. This show was definitely soap opera Juno. It put, what's her face, Shailene Woodley on the map though. Shailene Woodley got her big break on Secret Life of the American Teenager. I also remember seeing Molly Ringwald there playing the mom, and I was like, oh, she's playing the mom. So she's always playing the mom nowadays in the teen movies. So Secret Life was definitely just like teen soap. It was about this band geek girl, Shailene Woodley, that was pregnant. Shocking. So it was that, I think that nerd factor of the girl that's like, it made her more relatable and more like, this could happen to anybody. It was kind of like fear-mongering of parents a little bit. I definitely remember that Secret Life show being so like so scary, and like parents, like my mom was just like, this is a life you're living secretly. She didn't say that, but like it was kind of that type of show that was just like kind of scaring parents about teen pregnancy. At the time, Secret Life had the highest viewership ratings for an ABC Family original, which is kind of a big deal. It was seen by a lot of people. Again, this teen pregnancy concept was having success. It was having, people were just so curious and fascinated by it. I think it's kind of gross. It's like, why are you concerned with like a teen's sex life? I do feel like icky now thinking about like the teen pregnancy obsession. And yet it persisted. So it went beyond 2008. Secret Life lasted like however many years. Then 2009 only continued the trends of teen pregnancy. We have hugely successful reality series Teen Mom on MTV. Or no, not Teen Mom. 16 and Pregnant on MTV, the reality show, which was then followed up later on by Teen Mom once they all had their babies. Oh, hold up. So back to 2008, sorry. I missed a story. In 2008, we also had the Pregnancy Pact story. Apparently, like several high school girls at the same high school all got pregnant. I think it was 17 students that were pregnant at 16 years or younger. And it became this whole new story that it was a pregnancy pact between them and that they had agreed to all get pregnant because they thought it was so cool for some reason. I looked into that story now that they're all older and, adults, and they say there was no correlation between these students. Like, they weren't friends, they didn't talk to each other. It was just a coincidence that they all became pregnant around similar times at this one high school. Maybe the high school should have invested in sex ed. They never had a pact. Lifetime made a whole movie about this pregnancy pact. I did watch it. I did. Not anytime recently. Well, I mean, kind of, like, probably a couple years ago. But it was just silly. Like, they didn't know each other. It just so happened. And I guess the media was so obsessed with teen pregnancy, they, like, really latched on to the story. But it just shows how obsessed society was with this concept when, like, they were trying to find stories where there weren't even stories. I also saw something about, like, the reception to Juno and how some people said there was, like, a Juno effect, meaning that more teens would get pregnant seeing Juno because they would see how cool it was, which it was not cool in the movie. What happened? So it was just people trying to make up shit, and then that was disproved. There was no correlation of, like, increased teen pregnancy. If anything, it seems like it slightly decreased during these years of all this media, 2007, 2008, 2009. I don't know. There was no real correlation between teen pregnancy in real life, like, of stats of teens getting pregnant, and, like, these media movies and shows that were coming out. Back to 2009. So we had 16 and Pregnant on MTV, which was hugely successful, very documentary style. I feel bad for all these babies, and they were kids too, the teen moms, the teen pregnant girls. I feel bad for them because they ended up kind of messy, a lot of them. They were just kind of exploited on television. But that's a whole reality TV topic that is for another video. Another thing in 2009 that was a teen pregnancy representation, I guess you could call it, was Quinn from Glee. Glee came out in 2009, and one of the main characters was pregnant, and that was, like, a big storyline. Glee, again, was another hugely successful show. I've been rewatching it lately. God, it is so melodramatic and problematic and just messy. I'm glad I've grown enough to know now, but yeah, it was not the masterpiece I thought it was in 2009. It was just popping up everywhere. That's what I'm saying. And everywhere, it was like teen pregnancy was like the secret sauce to make your thing successful. It was around the same time where society, like, this teen pregnancy movement was also happening at a similar time as, like, all the multiple kids obsession. Like, I'm talking the Octomom, John and Kate plus 8, the Dugards, like, all these families of, like, a million kids. I don't know if there was a correlation there, but I think that's interesting that it was like an obsession with babies at the time. Why were we so obsessed with babies? Who freaking knows? I came up with a theory or two. I think just two theories. One is more conspiracy, and the other one is the most likely. My conspiracy about this phenomenon is the pro-life movement was behind it. The anti-abortion people talked to the media and paid them off to always include teen pregnancy, never consider abortion, and always go for a pro-life. Because that's the thing I notice now, rethinking and rewatching some of these pieces of media, is that the teen moms, whoever they are, they always keep the baby. They always either put it up for adoption or keep it. Abortion was nowhere to be found in the conversation. I'm just like, this is sus, because I'm just like, did the pro-life movement put everyone up to this? And it's like their propaganda to get teens to, like, think there's no other option. I looked into it and I found zero evidence about this, so I don't think it's what actually happened, but it was interesting to theorize. I have to see it from a media perspective too, of like, if your whole show or movie surrounds a teen pregnancy, then you pretty much have to keep the baby, because then what if once there's no baby, then what is the show about, you know? I remember in Secret Life of the American Teenager, it went on so long, like I feel like everyone in the show got pregnant because that's what the show's about, and once they have a baby, the baby, it's like, what is the point of your show now? It's like the teen pregnancy was like the identifier for the show or whatever. So I think there's also like a benefit to like the story part of things, to like keep the baby, because it's like you get the full pregnancy storyline and obstacles and things for your story. I don't actually believe my conspiracy about the pro-life movement being behind this. I found no evidence about like activity of the pro-life movement at the time. I was in Catholic school, so for me it was like definitely like at that time, that is the thing that you do. The noble thing is to have the baby and give it up for adoption, all this stuff. So for me, I felt like the pro-life movement was strong at the time, but it was probably my own environment, not like society at large. I think my more plausible theory about this is that Juno was so freaking successful, everyone tried to jump on that train. Just like when you have anything successful, you're gonna have a million variations and copycats. If it's proven successful, people know if they do it again, it'll probably have a good chance of being successful. So you had Juno as this great thing. And I think this is the case for most of these things that society becomes obsessed with, like vampires. Again, Twilight sort of led the renaissance of vampires. I think teen pregnancy was just one of those things. And it also had these weird moments where real life sort of also added stories. And I'm sure for OK Magazine, it was a huge boost in sales when Jamie Lynn Spears announced her pregnancy on their magazine. You know, networks benefit from like, I think that was that was the true Juno effect. It wasn't that it led to higher teen pregnancy rates. It was that the media knew that teen pregnancy would sell shows, TV shows, it would sell magazines, it would get clicks on online. It was tried and true, and it kept working. It kept working. Worked for Secret Life, worked for Glee, worked for 16 and Pregnant. It worked for the magazines, everything. That's my theory, and that's how most things work, I think, in pop culture and media. That was teen pregnancy in the late 2000s. Let me know if you remember this weird era of media. What do you think might be the reason society was so obsessed? Let me know what other things you remember society being obsessed with. I can definitely think of a few where this sort of chain of like successful media happened, of like the same kind of random niche topic, but teen pregnancy was like the first one I remember, so I wanted to start off with that. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and follow me on my social medias at Miscellaneous on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok if you want. I don't announce videos on TikTok, but Instagram and Twitter I put up updates about when my videos come out, so if you want to stay in the know or give input or just see my art, follow me there. I will see you next time. Bye.